Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. Aquaman continues to soar. It's over like $1.04 billion so far, right under Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. It's gonna hit that for sure. It's just barely almost there, like 5 million more. And it will be number 28 in worldwide biggest box office draw ever, and that continues to be really awesome, really great for Worlds of DC, or the DCEU, how the online people are calling it. And it truly shows maybe this is going through a new direction, not new direction, but a new way of doing business, opening overseas instead of domestic first, so that bloggers and critics won't be able to give their opinions out before everybody else around the world watches it. And the buzz was great. The marketing buzz was good, and a lot of people enjoy it. It's a great film. I love it. And it's a great thing for Worlds of DC to have that positive energy, that positive outlook for this cinematic universe, if you will, and for it to go on from here. And maybe even a start of what we see as Walter Hamada's kind of thing. Not too much, but some of the things that we were talking about, how Walter Hamada may be shaping it to a different story, a different type of march through this box office, is that he's really good at that horror universe in the ways of budgeting, right? He's making lower budgeted movies but high gross profit margins of those lower budgeted movies, and he seems to be transferring that over to the superhero universe. Like for instance, Shazam is reportedly has a budget of only 80 to 90 million dollars. Yeah, so that's awesome. I mean, just double that, and then maybe like 160 would make it over, and but they'll have to make a lot more. So about, it doesn't have to be $1 billion movie, so they won't need that type of narrative to go on forth and saying that should have been successful. Of course, there will still be that, by the way. If it doesn't reach like 800 million, there's still gonna people there. Oh look, it's dying. Didn't make $1 million. Now, it could make Justice League numbers, which is like 600 million, and turn a real good profit. So I think it'll actually do more than that, but it's a great thing to have that smaller budget so you don't have to expect that high return right away. It could keep chipping it away and actually get that big return, and that'd be great for the Worlds of DC. By the way, when I'm calling it the Worlds of DC, I kind of like that. I'm starting to warm up to that, and you'll hear why when we hear something from Toby Emmerich. But this is something that Mauro Robles was talking about on his Revenge of the Fan podcast, and I urge you to check it out. He has a little bit of sentimental words towards the ends as well, and I hope the guy the best and getting out of whatever depressive state he's in. I hope you the best. But I like when he's talked about a little bit about the Batman. We're hearing a little bit more rumors now about the Batman. Maybe if unconfirmed, if true, there are things like I won't go into detail because I'm not sure if it's true. It's something we've heard so many times before of these different actors and like John Hamm and things like that. But just to talk about that a little bit is about Matt Reeves, the Batman. Now we know Matt Reeves, the Batman, they're doing a detective noir story, which is great for Batman, right? But he wants to go into a younger Batman, having a younger Batman. And then we were thinking, well, they could do a cold case file thing where you have an older Batman with Ben Affleck and a younger Batman, right? We could totally do that. But what if Ben Affleck doesn't want to tell that story, want to be involved with that story? Or in Mario Bezquez, his sources says Matt Reeves don't want Ben Affleck in that movie. And if that's the case, it could be fine as well, because in the worlds of DC, not the DC extended universe or expanding universe, because of the multiverse type of element that DC can use in its storyline, worlds of DC, we have another Joker. We have two Jokers by all fair in balance, but since we have the Jared Leto Joker, and now we're gonna have a new Joker, and that's coming out. The Todd Phillips Joker that's coming out later this year. There's two different Jokers. So if we can have two different Jokers, why can't we have two different Batman, right? Why can't we have two different Batman? I'm all for it. If Matt Reeves doesn't want to think about connecting it or any case to this other universe that's been set up with Ben Affleck as Batman, he can go ahead and go ahead. You want to make your Batman, you make your Batman. Go ahead, make your Batman. Do whatever you want with it. Make your trilogy on that, while the next film will have Ben Affleck as Batman in another story and something like that. But it's like going to the comic book store. It's like going to the DC section. You're seeing these different authors and different illustrators making their own story of Batman, and doesn't necessarily look like the same Batman, right? So you have that element to it, the multiverse, if you will. And I think I enjoy. I think I could appreciate that meaning it gives the creators the freedom to make what they want to make, right? It gives the creators, the directors, the freedoms to say, hey, I want to tell this story, and not having to worry about how it connects to the other world. Now, a lot of people are like, well, we don't want that. We want that shared cinematic universe. But for the people, for you and me, for a lot of us who are really trying to drive this, having the artists have that creative freedom, and having the studios really think about the directors and what they want to do, and just actually finance that and help them tell their story, that artistic creativity, we're trying to champion that. And so it's easier to champion that idea by demolishing, in a way, a connected shared universe, if you know what I mean. I mean, there could still be a line where it's kind of shared, like how we're like Aquaman kind of talks about Steppenwolf, but it's not necessarily looks like the Aquaman we've seen in the other movie, right? So every director can put their own tone and flavor into it, and it maybe has these little Easter eggs and homages to kind of connected, but in essence, it's its own movie. Like how Wonder Woman was kind of its own movie with that little bit of Bruce Wayne that connected to him. So, and that picture that we saw in Batman v Superman. Aquaman, even more so, very non-connected to that. And that was, by the way, what Zack Snyder was trying to do, right? We know now that he tried to make his own arc story, but he's involved in that. So those 5 or 6 films, depending on who you hear it from, was going to be directed by him. But he was urging other directors to make their own film, to make their own solo film. And James Wan just wanted to make sure that he was okay. Zack Snyder was okay with his movie. He totally said, no, I don't want that Joss Whedon stuff coming in to this. I want to make sure that the person that was involved in this whole thing, Zack Snyder, agreed and approved my cut of the film, my solo version of Aquaman. And Zack Snyder did. And that's what he did. You know, he even went far as to make sure that there was enough room for the Flash director to make the Flash costume. That's why he put in a prototype for this Justice League, so that the next person can utilize that. So he did a lot of those things, and we've got to feel really grateful they did that. Now we all know the history of how Marvel wanted, well, not Marvel, what the execs and Jeff Johns, who was heavily involved, wanted to make that shared unit. He wanted to be the next Kevin Feige. You've heard me say this so many times how disappointed I am in him, and it just didn't work. And so now that he's gone, we've got this new regime. Toby Emmerich is now heading it instead of Kevin Sugihara. And we're always trying to wonder what they think about it. We already got that Kevin Sugihara a little bit of apology that he gave to the Wrap, or was it, no, the Hollywood Reporter, or was it Variety? I forgot. And he did say that we're no longer trying to make a Marvel movie. We're going to do our own thing. Well, we got a little bit more clarification from Toby Emmerich, and this is from the Hollywood Reporter, when they asked him, what does the success of Aquaman mean for the DC Universe? And I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for them to say something after Aquaman turned $1 billion, because usually when you get something this big and large, they're wanting these medias, bloggers and stuff like that, or these Hollywood websites would always try to get a comment from the producers, comment from the president, comment from the chairman, whoever, right? And so we finally got it. We finally got it here. And he says this. Toby Emmerich says this. We all feel like we've turned a corner now. We're playing by the DC playbook, which is very different than the Marvel playbook. We are far less focused on a shared universe. We take it one movie at a time. Each movie is its own equation and own creative entity. If you had to say one thing about us, it's that it's always has to be about the directors, okay? So obviously, if he had said this before the Zack Snyder fiasco, we'd say bull crap, right? It would be bull crap, and it could just be words right now. But let's just think of if he's really saying the truth here. Is he's finally admitting, this is him finally admitting they were wrong. They were wrong with putting Zack Snyder through all that. They were wrong with putting David Ayer through that. They were wrong in having Jeff Johns head this film universe. Put him where he's supposed to be doing and writing. That's where he's supposed to be doing, writing. None of this whole overarching thing. Let the directors, like they've always said, Warner Bros. Is supposed to be a director-driven studio, and this is where you can put your money where your mouth is and actually release films, letting the directors do their thing. And if there's any indication, Aquaman might not have been totally it, but it is getting there. David F. Sandberg might not totally be it, but it is getting there. I believe Birds of Prey is totally it. I believe Todd Phillips' film is totally it. These two movies, headed by Walter Hamada, is totally director driven. They are not to be connected in Birds of Prey, a little more connection to the worlds of DC or DCEU, whatever you want to call it. The Joker film, totally unconnected at all. They just want to tell a story about the Joker, possibly the Matt Reeves one as well. He just wants to tell a story of a Batman story that he wants to tell. They're letting these directors tell those stories. If this is true, if Toby is not lying here, if Toby is finally coming around and Warner Brothers is finally coming around and saying, hey, we got to entrust in our directors. We hired them for these movies. We liked the take that they were presenting to us, and we greenlit because we love their take. We're not going to take their take and turn it into something else. That's what I want to hear. That's what I'm thinking that's what he's trying to say, and I'm hoping that's what he's trying to say, and that's what he is going to do. And if it's any indication, like I said, the Joker and it seems like Birds of Prey seem to be going that direction. Jeff Johns had kind of visited Shazam with W.F. Sandberg, so that kind of maybe still has a little bit of the Jeff Johns things going on there. But after that, we should be golden. Wonder Woman 84, we're not sure. They've delayed that for some reason. It could be to de-Johns it, who knows? But him knowing about DC is still an asset, though. And that's what we just need from Jeff Johns, not to kind of barge in there and say this is how the story is going to be, but to have him be an advisory role, saying, well, what do you want to know about Wonder Woman? Well, I want to know about this and this and that. Well, this is Wonder Woman's story. And that's it. And it'll be up to the director if they want to partake in it, if they want to actually involve him, if they need him in that factor, just taking his advisements, but not using as the word of law. It's not his word is not law. His word is not changing the film, That's fine, because he's out of Warner Brothers right now. He's out of DC. He's got his own production company. So they don't have to utilize him, but they can ask him if they need to, if they want to. They still got Jim Lee. I'm saying they still got Jim Lee in there, so they could, and that's probably what Jim Lee's role is, to be the advisement to Walter Hamada. But having Toby say that each movie is its own equation and own creative entity, if he had to say one thing about us, it's that it always has to be about the directors. Then do the right thing, right the wrongs you have done before, and help distribute the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I mean, the Snyder Cut of Justice League, it means a lot more than just another film. It means more than Zack Snyder's project. It means a lot to Zack Snyder because this is the one movie that Autumn passed away. And it will be quite something for him to actually release it if he wants to. And there's every indication he does want to. He's been liking posts about Snyder Cut. He's been liking things. He put out a picture, a graphic. He drew a graphic of what probably was Justice League and Justice League 2, the entire arc on that graphic that very much looks like the Kabbalah, the tree of life, right? And there's so much meaning and intensity and biblical parts of that. In fact, it was revealed on Sci Friday. I'll put this video in the description. It's a weird video per se, because to me it just looks so weird and out of place that it looks like something out of a PBS type show, like Nova or something back in the 90s. And they talk about the Snyder Cut, and this lady, she just really knows what the Snyder Cut and the Justice League and everything, and how Batman was supposed to get sacrificed, and it's amazing what she's getting out of it, and their little religious takes on there. It turns this little simple superhero movie into something very special, very biblical, something that Zack Snyder wanted to tell us. And it would have made such more connections to different aspects of our society, including the religious society, the depths and meanings of society, the artistic society, and including the comic book society as well. Not just the mainstream audiences. It would have been a lot more, you would have kept coming back and watching over again just to see all these little things that are happening in the film. It's a lot more layered. And it would have been so much more special than the Justice League movie that we got. And so this is Zack Snyder wanting to tell that story. This is the way he wanted to tell the story. And so if you are true to your word in that each movie is its own equation, its own creative entity, and if we had to say anything about Warner Brothers, is that you're always about the directors, then put your money where your mouth is and help Zack Snyder fund it and help distribute the Snyder Cut so that we could finally see what Zack Snyder envisioned, what he wanted to tell us, the story he wanted to bring out, the creative art that he wanted to show the world. not just American bloggers, not just American critics, the world, in every part of society, every religious sect. This is the story he wanted to tell. And yes, and if you are not focused on shared universe, what's the problem? It's not going to hurt any type of canon whatsoever. It's going to be like the Joker movie. It's not connected to anything. It's going to be like Aquaman, where the only connectivity was that there was a Steppenwolf was named, and he had possibly talked with Vocal. In fact, this is just so by itself that it could be another movie in another multiverse. You're saying that. You're telling us this is your DC playbook. Then doesn't that mean that the Snyder Cut fully fits within that DC playbook that you are putting out now? I think so. And I think you can also make some money off of it. There's an audience for it. As you can see, how our Release the Snyder Cut campaign has been farther reaching into these other places we've heard from. People it's being drummed up from the bottom. We're getting over 1,000 tweets a day about it. I think there's something to be said there, and I think Toby, if I think you're a smart guy, Walter Hamada, I think you're a smart guy. I think Warner Brothers does have it, is thinking about it, but I just need a little more push, just a little bit more, and I think we could finally get the Snyder Cut that everybody wants, and also the victory, the redemption, the vindication that Zack Snyder really deserves. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.